You've had the same car for 10 years. The paint is a little duller now. The dashboard has a crack near the vent. There's a faint smell that's just become part of the car at this point, and the odometer rolled past 6 figures a while ago, without anyone throwing a party. Your friends post pictures of their new SUVs, their leased sedans, their just upgraded captions. And some part of you wonders if you're falling behind. But you're not falling behind. You're pulling ahead. And almost nobody around you understands why. For most people, a car is the second biggest purchase they'll ever make. And for most people, it's also the single biggest wealth leak they never notice. Bigger than takeout coffee, bigger than streaming subscriptions, bigger than almost anything else in the monthly budget. Here's what's actually happening every time someone trades in a car that still runs fine for a newer one. In 2024, the average new car loan in the United States crossed $40,000, according to data from Experian, the credit reporting company that tracks auto lending nationwide. The average monthly payment on that loan is now over $700. $700 every month, for a car that starts losing value the moment it leaves the lot. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York has reported that auto loan delinquencies have climbed to their highest levels in over a decade, proof that millions of people are stretching further than their income can actually support just to drive something newer. That's not a guess. A new car loses roughly 20% of its value in the first year alone, and by year 5, it's worth less than half of what you paid. A pattern Consumer Reports and multiple auto industry studies have confirmed for decades. You are, quite literally, financing a shrinking asset with borrowed money, then paying interest on top of the shrinkage. So why do people keep doing it? In 1971, psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell ran a study that gave us one of the most important ideas in behavioral science: the hedonic treadmill. Their research showed that no matter how much our circumstances improve, we adapt. The thrill fades. We reset to a baseline of wanting more. A new car feels incredible for about 3 weeks. Then it's just your car again. And the payment stays exactly the same, long after the feeling that justified it has disappeared. Social media makes this worse, not better. Every upgrade someone else posts resets your own baseline a little further. You're not just comparing your car to the one you drove 5 years ago. You're comparing it to a curated feed of everyone else's best moment, on a loop, every single day. It's a treadmill with no finish line, because the moment you catch up to your neighbor upgrades again. Now picture two people. Same income, same job, same starting point at 25. The first one leases a new car every 3 years. Reasonable payment, they tell themselves. $200 less than buying outright, but a payment forever, with no ownership at the end. Add in the higher insurance premiums that come with a newer, more expensive vehicle, and the gap widens further. Over 10 years, that's roughly $84. Zero cents spent on cars that were handed back to a dealership with nothing to show for it. Not $1 of it built anything. It simply disappeared, month after month, disguised as a small, manageable number. The second one buys a reliable, modest car at 25. Not flashy, not the one they really wanted, just something that runs. They pay it off in 4 years. Then, instead of trading it in, they keep driving it. For 6 more years, 10 more years. Changing the oil, replacing the brakes when needed, living with the dented bumper they never bothered to fix. Consumer Reports' own long-term reliability data shows that a well-maintained car from a dependable manufacturer can easily run past 150 zero-zone miles with only routine upkeep. The mechanical risk of keeping it too long is smaller than most people assume, and the insurance on a paid-off older car is often a fraction of what a new lease requires. So they take the money that used to go toward a car payment and they invest it instead. Let's do the math on that, because the number is the whole point. $500 a month invested in a simple low-cost index fund, averaging a 7% annual return. The kind of fund Burton Malkiel described in his classic book, A Random Walk Down Wall Street, as the most reliable path to long-term wealth for ordinary investors. Grows to roughly $86, zero-Z in over 10 years. Not from the money itself, from what the money was allowed to do while nobody touched it. Leave it for 20 years instead of 10. And that same habit grows past $260,000. The car never changes. The number never stops moving. Same income, same decade. One person has 10 years of car payments and nothing left over. The other has a paid-off car and close to 6 figures, quietly compounding in the background, waiting. This is the exact pattern researchers, Thomas Stanley and William Danko, uncovered when they studied actual American millionaires for their book, The Millionaire Next Door. They expected to find people driving luxury cars. Instead, they found the opposite. Most self-made millionaires in their research drove used or modestly priced vehicles. Many of them years old, some purchased second-hand. The average millionaire, according to their data, spent far less on their most recent car than most people assume. Wealth, it turned out, was rarely visible. It was often the people spending the most on cars, watches, and vacations who were closest to broke, carrying the appearance of success while quietly falling behind on it. Here's the twist most people never see coming. The new car doesn't make you look rich. It makes you look like you're trying to look rich. And the people who are actually building wealth can tell the difference immediately. Because most of them used to think the same way before they ran the numbers for themselves. Think about what a car payment really is. It's not a purchase. It's a recurring subtraction from your future, dressed up as a reward for your present. Every month, it takes a little bit of what could have become financial independence and turns it into depreciation, interest, and a slightly nicer cup holder. And the system knows this. Dealerships rarely advertise the price of a car anymore. They advertise the monthly payment. Because a monthly payment feels small, manageable, invisible. $700 sounds enormous. $209 a month sounds like nothing. That framing isn't an accident. It sits right next to Daniel Kahneman's research on how people judge numbers relative to a reference point instead of in absolute terms. A core idea from the behavioral economics work that later earned him a Nobel Prize and reshaped how we understand financial decision-making. Break a large cost into a small monthly number, and the brain stops treating it like a real cost at all. There's also a quieter pattern hiding inside all of this. What happens to a raise? Most people, the moment their income goes up, let their car go up with it. A promotion becomes an excuse for a nicer trim level. A bonus becomes a down payment. The income increases, but the gap between income and spending never widens. Because the spending simply follows the income upward, year after year. The version of you that keeps the same car isn't just saving on that one line item. You're breaking a pattern that quietly erases almost every raise you'll ever get. So the next time you're sitting in that same car, the one with the dull paint and the cracked dashboard vent, understand what's actually happening. You are not behind. You have simply opted out of the treadmill everyone else is still running on, one lease renewal at a time. The friend with the new SUV isn't ahead of you. They're ahead of you in visible signals, and behind you in actual net worth. In 10 years, when their fourth new car is parked in the driveway, yours will still be running, and your investment account will have done exactly what compound growth always does when you leave it alone. Nothing dramatic, nothing visible, just quietly, relentlessly more. This isn't really about cars. It's about the difference between spending to look wealthy and behaving in a way that actually builds wealth. From the outside, those two paths look almost identical, right up until the moment they don't. Usually around year 10, when one person is trading in their fifth car and the other is looking at an account balance they didn't think was possible on their income. You've had the same car for 10 years. It was never a sign that you were falling behind. It was the clearest evidence you had that you understood something almost everyone else still doesn't.